Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we are the Castro.
Makulay na brunch, tingnan
Yes,
mo.
favorite ko to.
Mataas pa yung putong ube tsaka yung putong regular. Pero mamaya pababa yan. Habang
I love
tumatakbo.
putong ube. Ikaw, gusto mo ba yan?
Gusto ko yung may cheese din. Kuya, daming pag-uusapan pa rin. Info overload tayo. It's a Wednesday. Hump day ngayon. Yung traffic, naano lang ako sa traffic, kaya walang pagbabago ang traffic talaga.
Alam mo, kahit anong gawin mo, ganyan na yan.
Isa ka na 2 hours from Quezon City.
Kahit anong reklamo mo, ganyan pa rin.
Mandaluyong, di ba? Ano ba mga ginagawa ng mga opisyalis natin? Di ba? Wala. Nako. Sige. We're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee, this is brunch.
Let's start our countdown with the ongoing repatriation of OFWs in Lebanon. At least 488 of them have already returned to the Philippines amid the ongoing conflict between the Israeli forces and Hezbollah. The Department of Migrant Workers reported that 250 Filipinos in Lebanon are still waiting for their clearance from Lebanese authorities before they can fly out of the country. For now, they are living in shelters to protect themselves from the conflict. DMW Secretary Hans Kakdak told Radio 5 they are making provisions for shelters to house more affected Filipinos by the war.
And as soon as they're cleared from Lebanese immigration, we will book them on flight. Meron din tayong shelters. Pinag-utos ng ating Pangulo, bukod doon sa safe repatriation, ay yung magtalaga ng mga kaparaanan kung saan mabibigyan ng tulong at proteksyon yung mga kababayan natin.
Kahapon nga, di ba, pinag-usapan natin na talagang ini-encourage na yung mga kababayan natin doon na i-avail na tong voluntary repatriation ng ating bansa. Yung mga kababayan natin na nandoon sa Lebanon. Huwag matakot, kahit undocumented kayo, tutulungan pa rin kayo ng gobyerno.
To give you the proper clearances.
Yung ibang mga kababayan natin doon, although may mga sinasabi silang mga issues nga daw doon sa loob mismo ng shelter, parang mga miscommunication na bawal daw makipag-usap sa kamag-anak, bawal gumamit ng telepono, pero pinabulaan na naman ito ni Kakdak, no? Sinasabi niya pwede naman daw gumamit. I think there are certain times lang na hindi po pwede.
Tsaka ang alam ko, they're also checking about yung secure lines.
Yes.
Kasi natatakot sila na not marinig naman, but there are certain times of the day na hindi secure ang mga lines, especially pag height daw ng mga putukan ng mga between Israel and yung Lebanese forces, di ba? So, and also there are times na walang signal, di ba? So,
kaya ngayon din,
nakacycle daw yung sinong gagamit. Sa dami ng yung mga gustong magpa-repatriate
doon ng mga kababayan natin. Pero syempre, yun nga din ang sinasabi nila, sana daw, pero yun din ang sinabi na ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, diba? Nasabi niya, ibibigay na lang niya ito sa mga official dyan, sa mga authorities, kung paano, kung magdideklara ba sila ng mandatory evacuation. Kasi as of now, no, ay voluntary pa rin ang nangyayari. Pero yun nga yung nagiging concern nila dyan. Antayin pa ba natin na mas gumrabe, magsara yung mga exit points, na hindi magkaroon pa ng problema, di ba, sa pagpapalikas ng mga kababayan natin. But for the meantime, yun nga, and wag naman daw mag-alala dahil yung mga kababayan natin magkakaroon ng mga assistance naman. Pag-uwi nila dito.
At least to for a few months daw to tide them over, di ba? Pag kasi may mga issues na naglalabasan yung mga kasangbahay daw dito sa Lebanon na may tuition daw na currently binabayaran sa mga senior high school ng anak nila.
So yun yung problema. Ang program kasi supposedly ng government natin, ibibigay yun kapag nakauwi na sila.
Pero ang problema kasi, nung nag-start yung Lebanon and Israel na war, nag-stop din immediately yung sa buwan na to, yung income nila. So hinihintay daw yung pambayad ng tuition ng mga iba, pang-ilaw daw ng mga bahay, tubig, so nawala yon. So now they're trying to work it over here sa Philippine side kung paano matulungan yung kailangan ng immediate financial aid. Yung immediate may mga pang-tustos daw lang muna bago yung actual aid.
And we have several Filipinos na rin naman ang nakauwi na
diba?
Okay, sige, patuloy tayo makikipag-ugnayan tungkol dun sa mga update na yan. But for the meantime, let's continue with our countdown. Next in our countdown, President Bongbong Marcos calls for a more intensified implementation of disaster risk reduction protocols. In a speech at the 2024 Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction, Marcos stressed the need to increase investments, develop financing mechanisms, and ensure inclusivity to reduce disaster risk. He adds that in accepting the role as steward of the Loss and Damage Fund Board, the Philippines remains committed to managing the fund well to help vulnerable countries deal with the impact of climate change.
We must significantly increase our investments and develop financing mechanisms in disaster risk reduction. Sustained and predictable data and financing would help address disaster risk better. This entails ensuring that developing countries, particularly the least developed countries, landlocked countries, and small island developing states are provided greater access to these resources to advance their policies and build disaster resilience.
Tsaka hindi naman across the board ang hinihingi ng ibang nations na babaan natin yung prices and access to technology that will help them combat yung climate change at mga disasters. Ang sinasabi lang, let's balance out the payment schemes. Kunyari, pag mas mahirap ang isang bansa, mas mura or mas easier ang terms para maka-access siya ng mga kailangan niya to help them fight yung mga disasters. Mga countries na able naman, then 'di ba, they can pay na kung ano yung full price, kung ano yung
kung kakaya naman.
Yun naman sinasabi. Let's use the fund that we have, yung minamanage para sa mga countries na nangangailangan na talaga na mag-adapt.
Yung kumbaga kung kaya naman natin tulungan, di ba? Kasi kaya ka nga you're in that position, di ba, to help other people as well. Pero yun nga, yung pagdating nga sa pagtugon sa mga disaster dito sa ating bansa, especially also, of course, sa buong mundo, yung mga climate disaster na yan. And we've seen also, di ba, dun sa recent UNICEF poll na karamihan sa mga kabataan ngayon talaga, ang nakikita nilang future problem would be climate change. So, yun nga, lagi natin sinasabi nga dito, diba? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So, ngayon pa lang talaga dapat, na tayo, on our toes na lagi pagdating dito sa mga usapin na to.
I remember, isa sa mga advocacy siya ni the late former President Benigno Aquino. It was yung disaster mitigation, diba? He was very vocal about it. And he was planning about it. Pero it did not gain traction sa lower house of Congress, kaya hindi masyado napansin. He even, di ba, na-implement na yung
Project NOAA.
May Project NOAA pa, and then he had a manual daw, a book that he wants to distribute sana sa mga LGU para yung zoning ng mga disaster-prone areas, di ba, wag doon daw magtayo. And then areas na tutukuyin niya kung saan pwede maglagay ng disaster mitigation evacuation centers daw.
Ang hirap kasi sa atin na nangyayari, di ba, tingnan mo yun. Recently, nagkaroon tayo ng bagyo. Pinag-usapan na naman natin yung flood control project. Ngayon na walang bagyo, walang masyadong ulan, medyo die down na naman yung topic ngayon. Diba, parang nagiging reactive lang tayo lagi dun sa mga nangyayari.
Ang problema daw kasi sa sobrang baon daw sa utang, in previous administrations, saka sa tindi ng corruption, diba, lahat ng projects that were supposed to be may long-term effect, like yung flood control, lahat daw, karamihan daw napunta sa corruption, saka infrastructure. We're still dealing
hindi na ako nagugulat pa.
Look, in case in point daw, yung mga flyover at overpass na ginawa sa EDSA na almost iisang within the span of 3 or 4 months, sabay-sabay ginagawa. Kasi nasisira. Dati kasi yung mga ibang bridges dapat pala years ago na repair. Problema dahil sa pondong hindi alam saan napunta, or yung
nasa intelligence fund.
Si contractor na tinuturo ni Rowena Guanzon na tumatakbo na sa Congress, 'di ba?
Nasa intelligence fund, nasa ayuda, ganyan yung mga nangyayari, di ba?
Okay lang maayuda, pero yung ayuda over ayuda na nag-overlap, yan ang tinitignan natin. Bakit?
Yan nga daw ayuda bagong pork barrel yan ngayon eh.
'Di ba? Kasi sabi nila ayuda over ayuda. Bakit hindi na lang iisang ayuda na may specific provision sa mga kung anong pangangailangan?
Saka importante yung napunta na tayo sa usapin ng ayuda, yung hindi dole out lagi, diba? Yung para mas mapapakikinabangan
dami nga
ng mga
nagagalit
natin.
Kada ayuda daw iba-ibang mukha ng mga politiko Iba-ibang congressman daw namimigay
So from disaster to ayuda.
Then punto real lang natin yung planning, the way the country plans is very delayed already.
Exactly. Alright, sige, let's continue with our countdown.
Placing 8th in our countdown is the United Arab Emirates. President Bongbong Marcos thanked the UAE government for pardoning 143 imprisoned Filipinos. Marcos called UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed over the phone to send his gratitude. The 143 Filipinos served time in jail for minor offenses. This good news came a week after a Filipino was executed in Saudi Arabia last week. So show of faith daw yan, parang to build partnership. Anyway, yung mga minor offenses naman ng mga misdemeanors, mga financial cases na non-murder or yung mga hindi yun ang binalik daw sa atin.
Plus, this is not the first time that they did this, di ba, yung may mga nag-pardon sila na mga with minor offenses lamang. At saka, syempre, alam naman natin, itong UAE ay kasama natin yan when it comes to trading, di ba?
Yeah.
Yung trading partner natin. One of our largest trading partners sa Middle East.
Although yung, kasi yung Arab nations, ang mindset ng mga taong Pilipino sa atin medyo mahigpit at di ba? UAE, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, di ba, Bahrain are one of the open cities sa Arab belt. Meaning they are mas progressive, mas western-like ang culture.
Yes.
So mas madali ang dealing natin with them because unlike yung ibang Arab nations na medyo stricter with regards to pananamit mo, very traditionalist, di ba? Ito naman sa UAE, Dubai, yun, medyong
that's why we can
open culture tawag nila.
That's why yung economic ties natin between them ay magaan, 'di ba? Pagdating sa import, export, etc. Ang problema nga lang talaga yung iba pang mga kababayan natin na nandoon sa medyo mataas yung mga offenses nila.
Yes,
yun ang kailangan bantayan ng government natin. At saka, of course, ano ba yun yung, ang tawag dito, yung bigyan sila ng tamang legal assistance.
Yes, correct.
Diba?
Legal aid.
Legal aid. Alright, speaking of UAE, eto, natikman nyo na ba ang viral na pistachio chocolates mula Dubai? Dubai. At alam nyo ba rin na isang Pinoy ang unang nakaisip ng recipe para rito? Para bigyan ng mukha ang balita Mobile Journal, Amy Atienza.
Kanafe, isang Middle Eastern dessert na nakasentro sa kaitifi o maninipis na hibla ng pastry. Kung mapapadaan ka naman sa social media, paniguradong nakita mo na itong viral na Kanafe Pistachio Chocolate Bar mula Dubai. Pero isa sa mga nagpatrending nito, Pinoy raw? Ito si Noel Umamalin, mas kilala bilang Chef Noel Catis, isang Filipino heritage pastry chef na nakabase sa Dubai for 15 years. Pandemic daw nang mabuo nila ng partner niyang si Sarah Humuda ang trending na ngayong Kanafe Pistachio Chocolate Bar.
During that whole year, from 2021 to 2022, we were just coming out of the pandemic. So we created and I curated as well I would say the base flavors. And one of those is the pistachio kanafa, which is now the viral flavor of the brand.
Maraming Pinoy nga ang natuwa sa kakaibang texture at panlasa nito. Pero dahil na rin sa hirap na makabili nito, iba't ibang version at tila nag-do-it-yourself na ang karamihan. Wala naman daw kaso ito para kay Chef Noel.
For me, it's a form of flattery. I mean, if you let other people actually do it with their own spin, or even people doing it at home, that means you've really done something that made the world, I would say, that you have disrupted the world, right?
May-ari ng restaurant sa Pinas ang kanyang ina. Sa kanyang paglaki, ipinagpatuloy niya na ang cooking at baking. At ngayong paparating na ang holidays, ready na si Noel kasama ang team niya na halos puro Pinoy din na maghatid ng mas maraming flavors.
So we are ramping up on our plans on what flavors we will be doing. So our plan now is to accommodate or to launch several flavors that are winter friendly. For example, something that celebrates winter could be like, kunafa with, kind of a flavor like strawberry.
Hindi na nga maitatanggi ang galing ng Pinoy, lalo na sa pagluluto. Kaya tulad ni Noel, huwag kang matakot na sumubok kasi baka malay mo. Magbigay din ito ng kasiyahan sa nakararami. Mobile Journal, Amy Atienza po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Bakit? Gusto mo
Nagutom
yun?
ako.
Natikman mo na ba yun?
Bubulong ako. Hindi. we'll source it out. I've heard of...
Taray, so we'll source it out.
Hindi, naghahanap. Okay. In other words, kasi nauso yung mga chocolates before na yung pistachio, almond, or kaya
I love it.
yung cashew base. Pero ito daw kasi iba yung texture eh. Parang it's the pistachio is actually daw, pinapalabas niya yung, kasi may oils yung pistachio eh. Tapos ginagrind daw niya, so yung texture ng chocolate daw is kakaiba. That's what makes it different.
I love po naman yung mga texture sa pagkain.
Oo, I read about a chocolate similar to that. But ngayon ko lang na yung kanafe. But,
sige, source it out
Hindi, hanapin natin. Ang hirap daw hanapin. Mami daw niya nandito. Hanapin natin yung mami niya. Madam, a friend ko si di ba? Sabi niya may padala daw siya yung kanafe.
Ay, ganun ba? May joke sana ako about Dubai pero wag na. Baka uminit ulo.
Ano? Sige na, yun na.
Wag na kasi kakanta pa yun baka.
Go!
Baka mawalan tayo ng credibility.
Init ka.
Coming up!
Oh.
Lawmakers call on the police to ramp up efforts to locate Harry Roque, who has an outstanding arrest warrant from Congress.
And lawmakers are looking into the possibility of former President Duterte using Intel funds to fund his drug war.
Pag-usapan natin yan mamaya.
Si Congressman Dan Fernandez.
Mamaya pag-usapan natin yan at marami pang issue. Tapos pagbalik natin, babati po tayo. We are just getting started.
Tutuloy niya yung joke niya pagbalik.
We're just getting started, mga kapatid. More of our top 10 news and brunch returns. Keep it here on One News.
Good morning! You're still watching Brunch here on
nagulat
One News. Kasi nangaagaw ka ng closing. Ako ngayon aagaw ng
okay
pagbalik.
lang yan.
Tsaka,
give and take tayo.
sumisimple ka kasi kumukuha ng food eh.
Sarap kasi ng ube.
Tinanggal ko lang glasses ko kasi
bakit?
I can't read with them on.
Anyway.
Ako muna, babate.
Abitin ko lang ito nasa YouTube natin. Si Geraldine Balolong, yan mga usual suspects natin. Si Ronald Maxtay, si Leonie Valdesoto, si Alex Fuentes, Emmanuel Zuno, at saka si Oscar N. Yan. Gandang umaga, Senator Angela at Mayor Diego.
Bakit ibang channel pinapanood?
Hindi, yan, ad yan.
Ibang channel pinapanood.
No cheating.
No cheating. Ako naman, ito from Ralph Domingo. If you're reading this, I'm watching Brunch at 3 p.m. today, taray. Had to do kitchen work. Good morning. Si Hermogenes Cardenas, good morning. Watching daw from Montalban, Rizal. Si Vash Glenn, disaster daw ang ayuda.
Oo,
si Cecil
si
Samniego.
Dyan.
Ito si Cecil, hindi dati ganito mag-comment. Ngayon may Uncle and Aunt Angela na. Good day daw, Uncle Diego and Aunt Angela. Dati Diego and Angela, ngayon may Uncle na.
Sino pa?
Sam Pokemon Go, good morning daw. Naka-shades daw siya dahil puyat. Pahagis daw ng isang ubing puto.
Ang dami nga nagko-comment dito. Gustong-gusto nila yung ubeng puto natin dito.
Ay, alam mo, sa totoo lang,
sarap talaga, favorite.
Kaya ni Angel ubusin lahat yan.
Ang hirap lang kasi magsalita while eating di ba? Tapos si VJ, di ba, si Tita Esther, sino pa ba? Si Ringo, si Tasha, yung mga nanonood.
At dahil,
Tita Daisy, Tita
mamaya pala
Naldi,
abangan nila,
at saka Tito Nito, nanonood din yan.
Imbis na mag-quote, may quote ako binigay, pero wag na lang yung quote.
Ano?
Ang closing natin, joke mo na kay Angel.
Wala na lumipas na yun.
Maghanap ka ng joke.
Lumipas na yun. Alright, sige, let's continue with our countdown. Coming in hot at our top 7 is the Tourism Department. Lawmakers grilled the agency over erroneous advertisements. Senator Loren Legarda mentioned one particular poster that says Banawe Rice Terraces is in Benguet. The famous tourist spot is located in Ifugao. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco admits that this was an unfortunate oversight. She said the creative agency that they outsourced was responsible for the mistake.
We know very well that the Banawe Rice Terraces does not belong to Banawe because Baguio City is Banawe and Banawe is in Ifugao. I saw this long ago. This was 2023. This year. Dito nang galing sana sa inyo. It says, Love the Philippines, Banawe Rice Terraces, Benguet. You know, if there's anything that really triggers me, it's really misinformation and wrong knowledge.
Yan.
Alam mo,
Kasi, I can imagine naman si Senator Loren Legarda kasi napakadali naman yan, very ang tawag dito, familiar na spot yan na Banawe Rice Terraces.
At saka, alam mo, even if it's not familiar, everything, you have access to information. Hindi ka ba nag-due diligence when you create, Mas lalo na pag advertisement, di ba? Advertisement yun for the Philippines.
Yes.
At saka yung agency ka, trabaho mo to come up with relevant and truthful information.
Ang naiinis lang din ako dito, this is not the first time na nangyayari
Ay,
ito ngayon
oo.
sa DOT.
Sa DOT.
Diba? Marami silang mga kasalanan and sinisisi nila, of course, yung agency na partner
Laging
nila.
agency.
Sino ba nag-hire nung agency na yun? Sila din, diba? That's why sinabi nila, meron na daw silang vetting process na mas mahigpit ngayon. Kaya sinabi ni Senator Loren Legarda, pakita nyo sa akin yung vetting process na yan. No, because
actually, alam mo, vetting process, yung vetting process to hire an agency, but the point is when the material comes
I'm
out.
talking about yung material na. Yung kunyari yan, magkakaroon ng ad, 'di ba? From an agency. Ngayon, meron na silang mas mahigpit daw, no, supposedly, according to DOT, na vetting process.
Parang
Na bago
nangyari-
ito lumabas, talagang check nila ng
Parang nangyaring video na supposedly Pilipinas
Yung ad campaign.
pero Vietnam pala ang kita, 'di ba? Yung mga rice fields ng Vietnam ang pinakita, hindi Pilipinas.
Oo, pero sabi love the Philippines, 'di ba?
Tapos
This is not the first time na
actually, we should also look at a deeper issue, 'di ba? If people don't know where Banaue Rice Terraces is, then there's something wrong with the way we teach our younger generation. They're growing up
geography, no?
lumalaki sila na akala nila yung Banaue Rice Terraces na sa
Benguet,
Benguet. Di may problema tayo.
Kaya nga 'di ba? Kaya actually itong meron kasi sinasabi si Senator Loren Legarda. I have nakalimutan ko kasi I was reading about it yesterday na may isa pang parang ganito nangyari.
Madami actually there was,
Pero
I don't
itong
remember.
specific na to, yung Banaue Rice Terraces na to, July of this year. So parang ang isang professor, if I'm not mistaken, or columnist, nakalimutan ko yung pangalan niya, na on the way sa Terminal 4 kasi ito nakabandera dyan. So he was really proud about it. Pinicturean niya kasi parang he did a study about it, blah, 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 blah. So,
Blah, 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 blah.
Oo, yun. He did a study about it. Tapos nandun yun. So parang very proud siya na nandyan yung Banaue Rice Terrace. And then eventually, nung napansin niya, Benguet. So he posted it. Tapos ang dami ng nag-viral and actually, ang dami mga nag-comment, kaya pala hindi na mahanap kasi nilipat na. Or hindi tayo nasabihan, nag-memo, nalipat na yung Rice Terrace sa Benguet. Yung mga ganon.
At saka isa pa, di ba, na-bring up to last year pero hindi masyadong nag-gain traction. Yung pagtatanungin mo daw ang isang younger generation na kung saan ang Boracay, hindi nila alam. Sabi nila, Boracay. Saan ang Boracay? Boracay. Hindi nila alam where it's located, di ba? So, we're losing sight of yung culture natin, yung geography, places in the Philippines, di ba? Hindi ba tinuturo sa school to na maigi?
Tinuturo yan sa school, well, during my day, kasi iba yung sayo mas matanda ka Di ba? Sabi nga natin, di ba, mas gandahan nila yung pagtuturo ngayon ng history, tsaka yung mga ganyan, yung mga sibika at kultura sa mga estudyante.
Tsaka,
kasi before, parang nabobore yung mga estudyante.
Tsaka lastly, before we move on, di ba, aside from teaching it in schools, di ba, dapat may constant campaigns ang Department of Tourism, not to educate, but merely just to remind people, we have places like these, di ba, may mga videos, hindi lang yung for tourists lagi, but also for the locals within the metro, na come up with ad campaigns that are beautiful, di ba, and truthful. Hindi yung mali-mali.
Sabi mo kung may turista ka pumunta, pupunta ako sa Banaue Rice Terrace, sa Benguet pala siya pupunta.
Baka next sabihin nila, Quezon Province in Ilocos. Ay, nako.
Ganda pa naman sa Rice Terrace, di ba? I went there a few years ago. I did a documentary. Pakalamig. Ang ganda. Pero, yun nga, kailangan pa rin yung ma-maintain yung ating Rice Terraces. Dahil isa pang problema din yan, dahil umuunti na year by year, yung mga nagpapatuloy ng kanilang pagtatanim dyan sa Rice Terraces.
Okay, let's move on.
Oo, sige. Alright, let's continue with our countdown.
Placing 6 in our countdown is about our troops. The Philippine and U.S. Army launched joint exercises in the northern and western parts of the country yesterday. The annual Kamandang exercises focused on defending the north coast of Luzon. The joint exercise happened after China held huge drills around Taiwan, which is just 800 kilometers from our country. It also came days after another incident of China's harassment of a Philippine vessel in the South China Sea. Despite these prior events, Philippine Marine Corps Commandant General Arturo Rojas emphasized that the exercises had nothing to do with the recent issues. Wala naman laging nothing to do lagi yan.
Oo. Pero
Pero sa akin lang, okay lang if it has something to do. Because we have to prepare ourselves naman.
Yeah.
We have to train. So, di ba, what mo kakahiya? Pero hindi naman daw. So, okay. We'll
At
take
saka
your word
ano
for
rin
it.
yan for humanitarian aid din yan di ba? Pagka merong nangyaring disaster dito sa Pilipinas, they will know how to, deal
Yeah,
with it,
kunyari, kasi
get in touch with us.
there are certain disasters na hindi kakayanin ng nation itself. Like, ibang countries may ganun eh. And when the American troops or other troops from other countries come in, we have to know how to coordinate with them.
Exactly.
Kasi time is of the essence, mas lalo na pag major disasters.
At saka alam na yung terrain, etc.
Oo. Familiarization lang naman yan.
Pero
Oo.
yun nga, kasi syempre, hindi mo rin maalis yung usapin na sinasabi nila dahil recently na naman, nagkaroon na naman ng insidente dyan sa West Philippine Sea, mga raming incident, water cannoning, di ba? Hindi natitigil. Kaya, establishing ito na we have a lot of allies.
Yeah.
Alright, sige, let's continue with our countdown. Moving over now to our 7th spot, former Senator Ping Lacson says Congressman Toby Tiangco convinced him to run again. Tiangco serves as the campaign manager of Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas. Lacson told 1PH that Tiangco was relentless in calling him to join the ticket. He said he decided only the night before President Marcos announced the slate.
Yung pala si Congressman Toby Tiangco. Hindi ko alam noon na siya pala yung campaign manager ng administrate nung alliance ng mga political parties. Sabi niya, Senator Ping, baka naman pwedeng mag-reconsider kasi mag-a-announce si Presidente. Sinabi ko rin sa kanya yung dahilan kung bakit atubili ako. Ang sabi niya, hindi, basta hintayin ka namin.
Top 5 po ito natin.
Top 5,
ito tungkol kay Senator Ping Lacson. Pero actually, 'di ba, lagi natin pinag-uusapan dito, independent or not, hindi na kailangan ni Senator Ping Lacson ng mga party ng endorsement kasi on his own lang kayang-kaya niya ipanalo.
What Senator Lacson has done kasi is he established a niche for himself. When you say Senator Lacson, alam mo budget mo is sigurado.
Yes, walang nakawal.
There are other aspects sa past ni Lacson na hindi gusto ng tao, but umiibabaw kasi yung the way he has safeguarded the budget, how he's
pork barrel
how he's part of the architect na binuwag niya yung pork barrel. And now sinasabi kasi ni former Senator Lacson, may bago na naman way of circumventing yung pork barrel, di ba?
Kaya nga, di ba sinasabi
he mentioned yung ayuda. Binanggit din niya yung ayuda. Binanggit din niya yung endorsement of projects, di ba? So
he was actually enjoying daw his retirement when Senator Tito Soto, former Senator Tito Soto, convinced him to run.
Sinabi nga niya yan, gusto na niya sana mag-spend time with the family. Pero parang every time daw napapanood niya yung balita, parang naiirita na siya na ito na naman tayo. Tapos ngayon may confidential fund. The abusive, it can be abused by certain agencies and departments. So, ayan, si Senator Lacson is placing high sa, I think he's in the
seventh
or sixth.
Naman di ba? Nung simula nung siya, kumandidato sa pagkasenador, hindi man siya nagiging top na senator sa election.
He's always there.
He's always there. Nasa 5, 7, 8, 9, ganyan.
Actually, magandang placing yan yung pwesto niya. Kasi
very secure yung, secured yung
kasi pag
spot
sinabi pong Senator Lacson, alam mong hindi, sa isip ng tao, hindi mangungurakot yan. Dahil siya mismo ang nagpupuntirya
Yun nga lang, bago tayo mag-continue, yun nga lang, medyo may big surprise sa iba dahil nga nakipag-alyansa siya dito sa administrasyon. When in fact, the last election, magkalaban nga sila di ba, bilang sa presidente noon. Pero,
that's politics.
Alam mo, that's politics. Kaya, let's continue with our countdown.
Coming hot at the 4th spot are Harry Roque and his wife, Myla. Where are they now? This is the question of the House Quad Committee to the Philippine National Police as they continue looking for the couple. The Bureau of Immigration reported that Myla is already out of the country before the House Quad Committee issued an arrest order against her. Myla has been ignoring the committee's invitation to attend their hearings on POGOs. Meanwhile, Harry Roque is still at large while being active on social media. Harry Roque is linked to the illegal POGO operations. House Quad Committee Co-Chairperson Dan Fernandez expressed frustration to the PNP for still failing to locate the couple.
Ang sabi nga namin, mahiya naman kayo. Kasi nagkaka-problema na kayo sa Quadcom dahil hindi nyo makita si Secretary Harry Roque. Medyo nakakalungkot on the part of the PNP.
Alam mo, ang general messaging kasi na naibibigay nitong mga pangyayari recently sa public is if you're rich and powerful, may mga ways and means ka na you can easily evade because maluwag naman ang enforcement ng Philippine government and institutions natin.
Yan ang in aid of legislation.
Okay, nag-start tayo kay Alice Go. Then meron ka pang sino ba to? Yung isa pang
Pastor Apollo Kibuloy.
Then you have Teves, di ba?
You have Teves, you have General Bantag.
And now you have Harry Roque.
Ito naman si Harry Roque, wala naman siyang kaso.
Walang kaso.
Ano niya pa lang ngayon ay iniimbitahan siyang magsalita sa itong Quad Committee.
Oo.
Doon sa link niya.
Pero actually kasi the message is, tinatanggihan mo ang Congress, ang lower house. One of the most powerful institutions yan, in the upper and lower chamber. Ano yung messaging ng iba, di ba? The rich and powerful are able to do that, di ba?
So anyway, yung pagdating dun sa asawa ni Secretary
bago
Roque,
pa naman daw, wala na siya.
September 3, she left the country for Singapore kasi nga, supposedly, meron siyang mga treatment na ginagawa doon. Kung
Nagpadala
anong sakit
siya
niya, hindi naman yun dinisclose in public.
Nagpadala siya ng hindi official med-cert, pero ng parang reseta
parang
daw.
Ganon.
Parang ganon daw.
Pero yung ILBO, yung Immigration Lookout Bulletin Order na nirelease ng BI, ng Bureau of Immigration, ay September 16 or 13, if I'm not mistaken. So, nakaalis na siya nun eh. Kaya nga yung mga tao sabi, na naman tayo, maalis, go na naman tayo. Pero sabi naman nila,
she was gone even before the ILBO.
Yes, sabi naman nila, they can coordinate pa rin dun sa counterpart nila sa Singapore and be able to do the process kung paano nila ginawa yung kay Alice Go. Para mapabalik dito yung
Tsaka reminder lang, kahit may ILBO ka, it doesn't mean hindi ka pwede lumabas. Pwede kang lumabas.
Yes.
Kasi Immigration Lookout
hindi naman siya whole departure
order. Iba ang whole departure order.
So pero ngayon, for context, bago tayo move forward, tinatanong nila, bakit ba yung asawa ni Secretary Harry Roque, bakit ba yun yung kailangan pumunta doon? Kasi meron siyang mga, di ba, siya yung nagmamay-ari nung isang property doon sa may Benguet, if I'm not mistaken, na kung saan nahuli yung kung saan nahuli yung dalawang Chinese national na may link din sa POGO.
Correct.
Diba? Okay, sige, let's continue with our countdown. Speaking of POGO, thousands of POGO workers have downgraded their visas as the crackdown of the government continues. Here's the report.
PAOK and other agencies are now hunting down the financiers of POGOs, most of whom are Chinese nationals, according to authorities. For now, some 12,000 POGO workers have voluntarily downgraded their work visas. This means they are now here under temporary tourist visas that would only allow them to stay only up to 59 days in the country. Those who refuse to comply may be deported and placed on a blacklist.
Yung legal po na aalis ng bansa will not be blacklisted, will still have the opportunity to come back to the Philippines for legal reasons. If they have legal, legitimate reasons to go back to the country, then they may do so because they have legally followed our laws and our policies. But yung mga magpapaiwan po na dahil na nasabi ko kanina matigas ang ulo at hindi sumunod sa mga polisiya ng ating gobyerno, ay sila po ay madideport and mabablacklist.
According to Task Force POGO, they have fast-tracked the process of their departure.
We make sure that expedited yung proseso natin ng downgrading, and at the same time po, we are encouraging din yung mga kumpanya to avail po ng services ng Bureau and the interagency na magkaroon ng implementation days.
To make things simpler for them, para po, kumbaga, we're trying to break down barriers for them to leave. Kasi pag masyado nating pinahirapan yung proseso at marami po silang dadaanan pa at maraming opisina na kailangan bisitahin, then it provides a barrier or some challenges. Baka hindi na sila sumunod dun sa proseso natin. And just to remind those that fall under this category, the October 15 deadline was set in place para po mag-downgrade into tourist visa. Pag tourist visa na po yung hawak nyo, 59 days na lang ang meron ang isang tao para umalis sa bansa.
However, PAOK is worried about the splintering of the large POGO hubs into smaller ones. They have been targeting more than 100 small illegal gambling operations.
Ang hamon talaga is napakarami hong mga nag-underground. We're having difficulty catching up. Assuming lang po na may matira after December 31. So magtutuloy-tuloy pa rin po.
Let's talk more about that.
We have PAOK spokesperson Winston Casio now on the line joining us today.
Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Hi, good morning, and good morning to all your viewers and subscribers.
Yes, Sir Winston, in relation to that report, yung 12,000 POGO workers na yan na na-downgrade yung visa to a tourist visa, is it safe to say na cleared na sila mula sa inyo po na wala silang kinalaman sa mga illegal operations natin?
Those who have downgraded, sila po yung mga galing sa mga legal internet gaming licensees, so legal IGL. So technically they have no problems, no. Kasi hindi naman namin na-raid yung kanilang mga POGO facilities o kanilang mga IGLs. So they're good to go, so to speak.
Okay.
Spokes, can you tell us more about po nitong mga sinasabi po na Pinoy's taking over itong mga scam hubs dito sa Pilipinas na iniwan ng mga Chinese nationals na nagpopogo?
What we mean by that is this, no? So over the years, na itong mga Filipinos were working under these foreign nationals. So they have acquired the technical skills to be able to do the logistics, basically the whole gamut. So they're able to do, they've acquired that skills. Kaya nga, ngayon nawala na yung kanilang mga bosses. Some of them, those who are financially capable, nagtatayo sila ng sarili nilang mga online na mga scam hubs, mga scam facilities, so to speak. Yan yung ilang mga scamming activities kasi na ginagawa dyan sa loob ng mga illegal na mga IGLs ay yung tinatawag nating mga fake online shopping, no? So, may ilang mga Pilipino nakikita nyo nagpaparaffle over at Facebook or at social media. Then at the end of the day, walang nananalo or fixed yung laro and so on. So, they've gotten that skill from working with this scam farm.
Yes, Sir Winston, I'd like to touch up on that lang, no. May mga kasi kahit ako mismo nakakita na rin ako sa phone ko, mga naka-imitate sila ng logo ng mga major online na selling platforms. Tapos sasabihin nila you want free items. Tapos pag i-click mo, kailangan may payout ka pala. Kunyari, we want to report schemes like this at medyo kahina-hinala. Paano po pumunta ang regular public or paano mag-report sa mga authorities?
Well, you've got different avenues to do the the PNP ACG, Anti-Cybercrime Group. You can go through the NBI Cybercrime Division, or you can go directly to PAOK. So, all of these agencies have their social media platform. Kami naman po sa PAOK, we are at Facebook. So, just search Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission. And there is someone who answers that on a 24/7 basis. So, we'll be able to address all of these issues po. Marami pa. In fact, may mga nakikita akong mga, personally ako na biktima na. So, nabiktima na ako personally mga last July. So, I like this particular brand of men's cologne. And nakita ko na di umano, nag-post sila sa Facebook sponsored ad na since magtatayo ang Facebook, magkakaroon ng parang branch itong perfume na ito dito sa SM North EDSA, of all places. SM North EDSA, bagsak presyo daw sila. So, ako naloko, bumili ako ng dalawa. Pagdating dito, kasing amoy, pero peke.
Oh my gosh.
And so yung mga ganito po is breakout groups po to, galing po sa actual POGO hubs. Okay.
Yes.
But how,
these are breakout groups coming from POGO.
Right. But how are we monitoring them? Ano pong ginagawa natin? At saka, meron po ba tayong mga nakikita na ngayon upon yung investigation ng mga hotspot na pinagtatayuan itong mga breakaway groups na to?
One at a time. We're focusing first on the really large ones kasi we're still looking at 7 thereabouts, 7 thereabouts na medyo malalaki, scattered all over the country, na who still employ hundreds of foreign workers and Filipinos. So we want to get them one big swoop para mas marami kaming mahuli at mapareport. But once we're able to do away with all of these bigger ones, we'll go into the smaller ones din po. Yung mga tig-10, 20, mga ganyan. Then, kaya we would like to call on the different local government units, no? Please help us in this fight kapag may mga nakikita kayong mga ganito, lalo na yung BPLO, kasi yung BPLO talaga, they've got very strong regulatory and visitorial powers, no? They don't need warrants or anything. All that they need is to issue what is called an inspection order. So, inspection order lang po, pwede na silang pumasok. They don't need warrants. Hindi katulad namin. Kailangan ho namin ng mga warrants, mission orders para makapasok. No? Medyo matagal po yun. So, we're calling upon the LGUs to do a thorough due diligence. No? Ikutin po sana nila lahat itong mga negosyo, mga condominium units, mga apartments, whatever, all over their territories, areas of responsibility, para makatulong po sa national government sa pagpapaalis po ng mga illegal na mga itong mga scammers sa mga ito.
Opo. Pakibigyan na rin po kami ng update, taking this opportunity to ask you po about this, yung recent arrest po ninyo dito sa tinatawag na boss ng mga boss, no, ng Pogo, itong si Lin Dong. Nasa na po siya, and what do we know so far?
Si Lin Xunhan po yan. You're talking about Lin Xunhan. His real name is Lin Xunhan. Kaya naman po siya natawag na parang, alam niyo po, napakabata pa po neto.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, he's in his late 30s lamang po, or early 30s, mid-30s. He was able to set up, together with the rest of his cohorts, a good number of pogos all over the country. So, nandito po siya sa detention facility namin sa PAOK. He has already been inquested for his immigration violation. So, we're just waiting for the actual filing, if any, of criminal charges against him.
So,
nagsalita na po ba siya dun sa mga link niya, possibly, kay Alice Go?
Together with his lawyers were with him yesterday, and he kept on saying that ang negosyo lang niya is barbecue. Sabi ko naman doon sa abogado niya, ang lakas naman ng benta ng barbecue niya. Meron siyang isang Toyota Land Cruiser na level 6 bulletproof, at saka yung personal na sasakyan niya ay yung Escalade na level 6 bulletproof din. So sabi ko, yung dalawang sasakyan lang na yan, siguro it's more than 30 million pesos na. Sabi ko, ang lakas ng barbecue na yon. Hihingin ko yung recipe ng barbecue niya. Baka naman makabili rin ako ng bulletproof na sasakyan.
Oo. So far, yun pa lang po yung kanyang mga sinasabi. But balikan ko po kayo dyan. Last na po, no, yung doon naman po sa mga witness or isang witness nagsasabi na meron po mga live stream na nagaganap na may kinalaman ng mga sexual activities. Do we have a document supporting these claims?
Well, yes. In fact, yung pong original po natin na deponent doon sa Lucky South 99, Porac, Pampanga, meron ho kaming nakita doon talaga na live streaming at saka no, this were, when we got it, they were already recorded, but they were live streamed, no? Na-record po sila na, yun po, sexual trafficking activities doon sa Lucky South 99.
Okay, sige po, patuloy po kami makikipag-ugnayan sa inyo regarding this issue. We don't have much time, but maraming salamat po sa inyo, PAOK spokesperson Winston Casio. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat din po sa inyo. Thank you.
Alright.
Yun, laking sakit ng ulo talaga ito nangyari sa Pogo, no? You're dismantling the legal Pogo, pero yung sangay niyang illegal na umangklas sa mga legal, nanganganak.
Meron pa nga yung mga Pinoy.
At mga Pinoy na umako.
Kasi natuto na sila,
Hindi,
gawa
kasi
na sila
may
ng
mga,
sarili nila.
before we go, no, kasi may abandoned na Pogo building sa kinikwento ng ibang Grab rider na pag nagdi-deliver sila dati ng food na nakaschedule, wala na daw yung mga Chinese doon. Pero iniwan daw yung mga phones, yung mga laptops. Siguro ito sinasabi ni Sir Winston Casio na some Pinoys took over na these equipment.
Kasi alam nila how to do
yung mga farm equipment na yan
business.
sila yung nagtotroll like. Oo. Ay, nako.
Tsaka dumadami na naman ngayon yung mga nagbe-message sa atin ng mga...
Nawala siya for a while,
diba?
Nawala siya for a while nung sunod-sunod ang raid, pero ngayon na nag-phase out, dumami.
Totoo. Nako.
Don't go away. We're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo.
Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Gumante lang ako kanina. You didn't see that coming. Good morning kay Botswana nanonood sa atin. Hi, Bots.
Hi,
Good
Bot.
morning.
Good morning. Okay, game.
At saka Reyes family. Lagi din nanonood yan. Okay, let's continue with our countdown.
Now, going straight to our top two, the Office of the Vice President hits back at the Social Welfare Department over its supposed false claims. The OVP says the DSWD had either delayed action or outright rejected its requests to help its endorsed beneficiaries in need of aid. This comes after DSWD Chief Rex Gatchalian told the senators that they always welcome the OVP's referrals for assistance. Vice President Sara Duterte's office says this is inaccurate and misleading as the reality on the ground tells a different story. Hindi kasi ang...
Di ba yung nag-umpisa yan yung during the budget deliberation ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa House at humihingi nga siya ng certain amount as tinatanong siya ng mga congressmen na bakit, meron naman DSWD, may ganito naman, bakit kailangan magbigay ng burial assistance, di ba, ayuda sa mga tao. We have certain agencies to, that do that. Pero sinabi niya kasi hindi daw nabibigyan yung mga nire-refer ng Office of the Vice President.
Pero kasi you have to sinasabi rin ng ibang there were several interviews that I saw sa ground. Ito yung ground workers sa DSWD who nagbibigay ng ayuda. May mga times kasi yung mga taong nagre-request ng guarantee from the OVP, sila mismo na-reject na because may kulang na qualification, may kulang na documents, or, di ba kasi sometimes pag nag-claim ka ng ayuda, may certain time frame bago ka makakuha ulit. Minsan dumodoble or tumitriple. So, kung hinihindian daw sila sa DSWD level, pupunta sila sa OVP, tatry nila makalusot by getting an endorsement letter, tapos babalik sa DSWD. So, pag na-check yung mga names, mga iba, hindi binibigyan. So, of course, hindi naman kasi porket galing sa OVP, outright natatanggapin. Siyempre, the DSWD,
may proseso
din yan. I-check, nakakuha na ba to dati? Kasi, di ba, if you claim one ayuda, 1 or 2 months before you claim your second ayuda also.
Exactly. Pero ito kasi, tinitignan ko, ano ba yung specifics, di ba, ng OVP to allege nga itong DSWD na hindi sila pinapansin. Meron silang sinabi na nang humingi daw sila para sa isang grupo na apektado ng swine fever, African swine fever. At hindi yung request na daw na yon ay dininay ng DSWD dahil sinabi daw ng DSWD hindi nila kayang magbigay ng mass payout. But eventually they found out DSWD allegedly did itong mass payout na to sa ibang grupo, which is yung hindi daw in-endorse ng OVP. Isa lang yan dun sa mga nirereklamo nila. Although, sa side naman ng DSWD, sabi ni Secretary Rex Gatchalian, sabi niya, meron ako mga messages dito na may coordination naman, ginagawa naman. And in fact, binigyan pa sila ng Office of the Vice President ng award last year, if I'm not mistaken, for being a parang partner, ganyan-ganyan. So, yun yung nangyayari ngayon na alitan sa kanilang dalawa. Okay, marami tayong gusto pag-usapan na kasi marami silang mga binibigay na example na hindi daw pinansin ng DSWD ang OVP. Pero for the meantime, let's continue with our countdown. Remaining on the top spot is the alleged reward system in the war on drugs. The House Quad Committee seeks to investigate the possibility of using former President Rodrigo Duterte's intel funds to reward the police officers who killed alleged drug personalities. Here's a report.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte has the biggest confidential and intelligence funds compared to his predecessors. Based on the Commission on Audit or COA's data, Duterte spent a whopping 4.5 billion pesos of confidential and intel funds in 2021. Some lawmakers theorized the intel funds were used as reward money for the police officers who killed alleged drug personalities during the war on drugs. This comes after former Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office General Manager Royina Garma's revelation about Duterte's so-called Davao model. The House Quad Committee plans to conduct an investigation into the alleged use of intel funds for the alleged rewards system.
There are operations being implemented by the administration or former administration o kahit ngayong administration na kapag police operation o kaya military operation, gagamit ka ng intel fund. So, we need to find out saan talaga kinuha yung pera. And we're pretty sure doon yun sa intel fund.
Committee co-chairperson Representative Dan Fernandez admits that it will be hard to learn how Duterte spent his intel funds. That is why they are going to analyze when the funds were spent.
Especially doon sa panahon na alam mo yung panahon ng may pinatay ng mga Chinese doon sa Davao di ba? Yung tatlo. Baka doon nanggaling, hindi mo yung moment na tinransfer.
The House Quad Committee is planning to invite COA to help them with their investigation. Duterte's former presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo and Senator Bongo has denied the committee's assumptions. Go also proposed a parallel investigation of the drug war in the Senate. Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel expressed support for this proposal.
Para makapagtanong din kami ng sarili namin mga tanong. Ganito kasi ang sa mga congressional hearings, walang cross-examination Pwede nga mga senador, we will ask the cross-examination questions para matest po natin yung credibility ng witness.
For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
Ayan, mahirap din yan kasi intelligence fund yan, hindi mo maiisa-isa yan. Pero ang sinasabi nga ng nila Representative Barbers, nakakita sila ng increase ng request ng Intel Fund during the Duterte administration.
Almost 4 times or 5 times the amount just coming from the Pinoy admin. Which is, alam naman natin pag Intel funds kasi or confidential funds ng Office of the President, di ba, it's hard to liquidate that. Kasi
hindi lang, kahit saang agency na merong Intel o confidential fund, hindi mo po pwedeng isa-isahin.
Kasi you can simply i-bulk mo yan and say national security yan.
Yes.
So you don't need to disclose anymore.
Yun ang mahihirapan sila to check it with I don't know how are they going to do that. Pero yun nga kasi sabi nila, aside from this, di ba, nakikita din nila na po pwedeng nagpondo, allegedly doon sa drug war, would be yung mga collection from illegal gambling, wetting, yung mga STL na yan. Hindi sa totoo lang small town lottery lang. Pero yun yung nakikita din nila na mga pwedeng nagpondo doon sa, kasi di ba nagpakita sila ng Matrix, so allegedly na nasa tuktok si Pangulong Duterte, tapos yung mga PNP chief niya na architect, di ba, supposedly nung drug war niya, tapos yung paano yung bigayan ng pera, tapos yung Matrix na to 20,000 kapag maliit lang na tao, up to 1 million kapag malaking tao yung nasasama dyan sa pagpatay allegedly. So, tingnan natin kung makikita nila yun. Basta nakita nila yung alleged na supposedly, pagtaas, diba, ng request ng
Basta kung Dan Fernandez is sure daw na, I am very sure na doon daw galing. Let's see. In the coming days, di pa tapos ang Quad-Com hearing, but we all know na they're in a rush, they're in a bind kasi mag-adjourn sila because magkaka-election na.
Yes, pero by November naman kasi babalik sila after the break November ang balik nila to scrutinize everything.
Magkakaroon ng shift in Congress and personalities.
Yes, kasi I think itong si Congressman Dan Fernandez, he will run for governor sa Laguna.
Okay. Well, that ends our episode for today. It's a Wednesday, and with that, I'd like to leave you with a quote. Kind words do not cost much, yet they accomplish much. A quote from Blaise Pascal.
Always choose kindness.
Yes. And that wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro. He is Angelo Castro III. We are One News, all sides, all the time.